Hey everyone, back with part 2 of my GDC coverage. If you haven't watched it yet, part 1 covers the VR games that I got to try at GDC. While I did not get to try the PSVR 2, unfortunately, sorry I'm not verified on Twitter or very popular, I did get to try a bunch of haptic vests and peripherals. Blah blah blah, talking head, let's just see some cool shit. First, I got to try the Skinetic Vest by Actronica, which works very similarly to Haptics in that it uses motors to provide feedback. However, it only uses 20 motors, putting it somewhere between the TACsuit X14 and the TACsuit X40. The Skinetic Vest uses VCM or voice coil motors versus Haptics, which uses ERM motors, meaning that Actronica is able to reproduce an infinite number of sensations. The first demo I got to try basically put me in a room to try various effects, getting shot and stabbed in various ways of course, but also wind and rain effects. What was interesting to me was due to the fact that there was a tracker on the back of the vest, the haptics would change based on direction or where you were standing physically. So for example, in the rain demo, if I leaned forward, I would feel the rain on my back but not on my front, or vice versa. I also got to try out a Half-Life Alyx mod to test how weapon recoil felt. I also got picked on by a couple of antlions and electrocuted a few times by a lightning dog, which was actually my favorite. Actronica is also trying to get more into the movie business by bringing their vests into theaters. I got to feel an example of how this would feel using the movie Avatar. While the Skinetic Vest can work with non-VR games, music, and movies, just like with Haptics, the best custom experience will come from the developers adding their SDK to their games. Currently, it'll only work on PC and PC VR setups, although they are working with ProTube to possibly bring some sort of wireless VR capabilities to the vest. If you're interested in finding out more about the Skinetic Vest, you can visit their website at skinetic.actronica.com, and you can also back them on their Kickstarter, which I will link in the description below. The Uwu Vest is unlike anything I've ever tried before, and it was my first time getting to try an electrode-based vest. The Uwu Vest features 10 electrodes that scale from intensity levels of 0 to 80. I believe for my demo, I stuck to around 35 to 45. I tried the vest with individual tests such as being shot with various calibers, getting stabbed in the stomach, having bugs crawl all over me, and I will say that the sensations were quite painful and weird, but in a good way. The best way I can describe the smaller shots was it almost felt like getting hit by a BB, or maybe having a rubber band snapped at you. The impacts felt a lot more realistically painful versus the kind of nice massages that you get from motor-based haptics like Haptics and Skinetic. I also tried the vest in a VR demo of theirs featuring drones that just flew around and shot you. Getting shot at was definitely unpleasant and extremely noticeable and rather regrettable. Getting shot in the back definitely made you want to turn around to stop whatever it was that was shooting you. A couple of caveats for ladies though. You can't wear a sports bra with the Uwu Vest because basically the electrodes need to be firing at an even amount. So if the bra is blocking part of the electrodes, the parts that you can feel will be more painful. While the vest itself is pretty easy to put on, it's like a shirt with a zipper in the front, care needs to be taken to make sure that the electrodes aren't folded over on top of each other, that they're in the right place, meaning that prep time might be a little longer. The vest is wireless, and while there is a receiver that attaches to the side pocket, it's quite bulky, but they are looking to reduce the size in the future. Like Haptics and Skinetic, in order for the Uwu Vest to work in games, developers will have to add their SDK to it. For more information, head over to uwugame.com, where you can also sign up for a pre-order mailing list if you wish. Tilt5 is an augmented reality-based tabletop experience that I have been wanting to try for a long time. The components are essentially AR glasses, a wand that serves as the controller, and the mat. For my demo, I got to try 3 different types of games. The first was a top-down Diablo-like experience, the second was a Lego-like platforming game, and the third was a target shooting type game. I did struggle a little bit with the depth perception when it came to the target shooting game, but this might be something that I just wasn't used to and would get better at with time. The interesting part is that you have multiple people that can actually share the same mat but be playing totally separate experiences. Tilt5 did mention that remote and local multiplayer will be possible. However, at this time, you can't buy separate glasses and wands without the mat, but I'm sure that will change in the future once initial kits start coming out. It's not a completely wireless experience, mind you. The glasses need to be attached either to a PC or an Android device. Just like with anything else, Tilt5 is simply a platform, but if developers want their games to be able to be playable on it, they will need to add Tilt5's SDK. You can find more information at tilt5.com, and the current kit you can reserve includes the AR glasses, the wand, and the mat, and are going for a very affordable $395. Finally, my Live coworker Socks and I got to try out the Vario XR3, the PC VR headset which features eye tracking, hand tracking, and incredible mixed reality. The first demo put me in a car in the hotel room that we were in, and I will say that the high resolution of the headset made it look great, and weirdly made me feel like I was just sitting in a random car in a hotel room. The selective pass-through was really interesting, meaning that if I held up my hands in the car, I could actually see my hands in the car. While there was some border around them, it was still really neat to be able to see. I also tried a cadaver app in which you could take apart various parts of a body, and I got to try out the eye tracking technology by getting thrown into an incredibly realistic looking grocery store in which I could see a little cursor that would hover over exactly what I was looking at. The interesting and semi-creepy part is that data could be collected based on what I was looking at. So for example, the program could differentiate whether I was looking at coffee, tea, or cocoa. The XR3 is definitely meant to be more of an industry-based headset geared more towards designers, but if you want one, you can pay close to $6,000 for it, not including the required subscription. Base stations and controllers are also sold separately. Well, this is GDC after all. VR is definitely not necessarily the cheapest of hobbies, but I for one am extremely happy to see a bunch of new haptics and peripheral companies popping up, as well as advancements in VR and AR technology for both consumers and businesses. As a reminder, the next convention I plan on heading out to will be PAX East, so let me know if you plan on heading there as well. As always, keep on creating and never lose that drive to improve. I'll see you on the next one.